What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Waters. Welcome to Life to Metal. It's time for a rock metal update. Time for a rock metal update. All vinyl, all metal this time. Got a handful here I want to show you, and I'm gonna start off with some. Kind of had it. I'm gonna move over a little bit here. There we go. Kind of in a bit of a death metal mood for the last few weeks. Listening to a lot of Bolt Thrower and Mortification and just a bunch of different stuff, but heavily into Mortification and Bolt Thrower. Thing is, I didn't have a whole lot of Bolt Thrower left anymore. Kind of got rid of a lot of it in the 90s, but I don't know, something's just drawn back to them for some reason. It was just their simplistic, you know, down-to-earth, straightforward, grunt and grind death metal style. So I showed a couple of Bolt Thrower albums in my last update, so I'm going to show a couple more in this one. This is Realms of Chaos. This was their first album on Earache Records. This is a new cover, different than the original cover. I was kind of surprised when I picked this up. It is a recent reissue that had a different cover. Very cool cover and similar vein as the first one. But apparently the first album, they had some kind of contract with some small some small comic book company for that cover. And that comic book company has since become larger or bought out by some bigger agency, and they weren't allowed to use it anymore. So they had to change the cover. So this is the new cover. Still cool, still works, still has that classic Bolt Thrower look, and it's just, like I said, straightforward grunt grind death metal. I picked it up on black vinyl. Oh, shocking, black vinyl. So it's the rare black vinyl version. Anything on black vinyl seems rare these days. But yeah, Realms of Chaos, and then also I picked up probably my second favorite by them after War Master is the I want to keep saying the fifth, but it's the Fourth Crusade. IV4. Again, black vinyl. Again, it's on Earache Records. Originally released 1990. Let's see, 1992. Again, just straightforward death metal, grunt grind vocals. You know, it's not about just speed. It's not just about being more brutal than everybody else, but it's just quality songs. You can tell these guys are definitely metal fans because you can kind of hear those classic metal influences and the thrash influences in this sound here, and I think it's why I like them so much. So Bolt Thrower, the Fifth Crusade. Most of their stuff has been reissued in recent years, and they're not really hard to find, which is great. It's good that all these you know, these old metal albums are available again. And then going right along with that, an old, probably one of my all-time favorite albums from in the death metal genre. This is Amorphous Tales of a Thousand Lakes, Finnish band. This was their, I think their second or maybe their third, but I think it was their second album, second full-length album. And then it's very much a progressive death metal album. Like I would almost describe it as if Yes was playing death metal. That's kind of where I see this album as. Very melodic, but still very heavy. You know, it still has the guttural vocals, the brutalness about it, but there's also some very sweeping passages about it. It's just a very cool album from one very great band, Amorphous. I like their first album. Their first album was more straightforward death metal, and as they went on, they just became more and more progressive, moved more and more away from the death metal sound, but here you still got that blend of death metal and progressive rock, which I really, really like. This one was probably early 90s too, 1994. This is a 2018 edition. There's actually a couple different pressings of this out right now. One of them is a 2 LP version. I believe it's spun at 45 RPM. This is the 33 RPM version on a single album. So glad to have this. Again, it wasn't real expensive. You know, going for under 20 bucks, which is actually under the normal price for new vinyl these days. This is a band that I don't know, man. All of a sudden, I just like really just got into this band one day. I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone, Darren Hildebrandt, and we were just, you know, chatting back and forth, and he mentioned this band Beyond Creation. This is their newest album. This is Algorithm. And he had mentioned, you know, that he was going to see them, and we were just talking about the music, and he sent me a link, and I checked them out, and like, man, I like this. I can't remember what song it was. It wasn't off this album. It was on another album, an older album. I think this is their third album. I think they have 3 total albums out. and Canadian, progressive, very progressive. It's like if this is what would have been the direction that Death continued on as, when they were playing albums like Human and Individual Thought Patterns. There's that very techy, very progressive death metal. Anyhow, I just loved them. I mean, I just couldn't believe how much this spoke to me at that point, if that's the right way to say it. But yeah, had to run out and I got one of their albums. I couldn't afford to get all three at the moment, but I got the newest one. Really, really like it. Some people saying it's not their best. Okay. If this is not their best, then this is pretty damn good. So, like I said, it's a lot of funky bass lines going on, fretless bass stuff, really heavy riffing, and of course, with most down metal, with most death metal, it's very down-tuned, probably all down-tuned to at least D, but still, great stuff. The hype sticker says, Beyond Creation deliver another ferocious blend of technicality, I cannot speak. Technicality, melody, and brutal, combined with beautiful progressive interludes. Cut at 45 RPM for maximum fidelity. So, I'm not really getting into this whole 45 RPM trend where you're putting in one album on two and having to go turn it over every 2 songs, but whatever. I guess it supposedly sounds better. Maybe if you have a massive system, I'm just not hearing huge difference in it. But regardless, really good to have this. Really like it. I'm gonna pop it open real quick too, because it's a gatefold. So lyrics in the gatefold, small band pictures, and it's just your standard black vinyl, but it does have custom centering. So again, there is color vinyl available if you're interested in that kind of thing. And I do like color vinyl. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I work with color vinyl and I put stuff out on my own label in color vinyl. I think if it goes along with it, like a nice pale gray or blue would look awesome with that. But I mean, it's not imperative to me. I wouldn't pay $10 extra for a color vinyl over a black vinyl. All right, getting out of the death metal thing. Need to hurry. There's a lot here. Getting into some. This is just a classic, second wave of thrash metal, whatever you want to call it. Second generation thrash metal. Defiance. This was their second album. Just fantastic, straightforward thrash metal. I mean, you guys know me. I'm a huge sucker for thrash metal. Love this stuff. This would have been what, 1989, 1990, somewhere in that area. 1990, I think it's around that area somewhere. But yeah, I mean, along the early Testament sort of style with this band. And I can't remember where this band is from. I think in California, but I'm not 100% positive. So I'm so sure someone can correct me on that one. But Defiance, this is Void Terra Firma, their second album. Really glad to find an original pressing of this. Would love to find their other two as well one of these days. I have them all on CD. Brand new release. If you guys know, last year, nolifetilmetal Records. Holy crap, I'm having a hard time speaking. Nolifetilmetal Records put out the Banshee album. And here it is again. This just was released. This is Mindslave. This is on a different label. This is not on my label. This is a picture disc. And it's just recently released by Visionary Noise. There's the front cover and the back cover. It does come in a nice, sleeve cutout, which I dig better than just the plastic sleeves. I'm going to open this up too because there's art in the front and the back of the record. These are available now on Visionary Noise Records. I don't remember if that's their website or not, but I'm sure if you do a Google search for Visionary Noise, you can find this there. They are not cheap. Let me tell you right now. Here's the record itself, front. Sorry, I'm getting an awful glare. There's the back. Yeah, just one of my favorite albums. I mean, I was stoked to be able to put this out on my own label. It was originally released in 2012, came out in 2017 on nolifetilmetal Records, and now you got 2019, you got another vinyl pressing, this one being on Visionary Noise. So if you're interested in picture discs, this one is out. If you're interested in the regular black vinyl version of it, in a full sleeve, then nolifetilmetal, we probably still have maybe 20 copies left, not a whole lot. That might be a lot more than we have. So if you're interested in that, Visionary Noise or nolifetilmetalrecords.com. All right, next up, let me see, let's put this here. This was a huge grail for me. It's funny because I'm not a giant fan of this band. I do like them, but this particular album I absolutely love, and this is Extreme. 3 sides to every story. Just something about this album from them. I just can't get enough of it. Never could. It's just very proggy to me. I almost relate it to like Night at the Races and Night at the Opera, Day of the Races from Queen. It kind of has that feel to me. Now, of course, it's not a Queen wannabe album. It don't sound anything like Queen, but it has that vibe to it. You know, they're very progressive, very experimental vibe to it, but it works. You know, it's got these huge hooks, big vocals, great guitar playing, great guitar solos. Just a great album from them. And to get an original vinyl pressing, I'm just so stoked about this. This is actually a gift that was given to me from Matthew Hunt at Retroactive Records. I've been working for him for a couple years now, working with him. He's a partner of mine, and he obviously found a copy and scored it for me, so I'm just psyched. Great album from them, Extreme, 3 sides to every story. Such some great songs on here. Warheads, Rest in Peace, Cupid's Dead, Our Father, God Isn't Dead, Don't Leave Me Alone. It's just a great album. Yeah. Act 3, Extreme. It is not a gatefold. It is a 2-album set, but it's in a single sleeve, one of those oversized sleeves. So there you have it. Extreme, 3 sides to every story. Live album. This is from a recording from 2000. It is an official live album, but it's not. I don't know that it was ever intended to be a live album. It's a recording from 2000. Place of Skulls, which is Victor Griffin's band. If you're not familiar with Place of Skulls or Victor Griffin was the guitar player and the riff master who came out of Pentagram. And this is his band. And this album features 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 live tracks recorded in Knoxville, Tennessee at the Prince on December 8th, 2000. Man, it's just fantastic traditional doom metal. Like I said, Victor Griffin is a riff master, and if you like that pentagram style of doom, you know, that traditional 70s style of doom, you're going to love Place of Skulls if you have never heard it. This album is limited pressing. I snagged one as soon as I knew they were available because I know they'd be gone as quick as they came out. I think there was only 300 pressed, but it's on Maniacal Records, and I'll try and remember to put a link, but it's maniacalrecords@gmail.com. I don't see these online for sale anywhere. I think we're going to try and get some of these in. I think we have some in at nolifetilmetalrecords.com to sell, but for the most part, I don't see them very much online. So you can check nolifetilmetalrecords.com and see if we have any left in stock, but if you're interested in this doom metal live album from 2000. Victor Griffin on guitars, Lee Abney on bass, and Tim Tomaselli on drums. All right. Next up, another 80s album, original release. This actually might even be early 90s. I can't remember. Nope, 1989. This is David T. Chastain. Within the Heat. This is an instrumental album, all instrumental. Back in the 80s, we called it instrumental because it was instrumental albums. You know, it was just part of that whole metal movement that was huge in the 80s. David T. Chastain was one of the best. Also playing in the band CJSS and Chastain with Leonard Leone on vocals. I just like his stuff. I like his solo stuff. I like his instrumental stuff. I believe this was his second solo album, second solo instrumental album, and I really dig them both. So glad to finally have a copy of this at all. I didn't have this one on vinyl or CD, so I found this one really cheap online. Can't remember where I picked it up now, but I remember I was just looking through on my phone for something and stumbled across this and was like, "Ooh, want that?" Picked it up. So I think I got it for like $8, and it's in pristine condition, other than a little saw cut on the top. So it's either a promo copy or a cutout or whatever. David T. Chastain. This one came from the legendary Rui Martins from Portugal. This is a recent reissue of a Portuguese classic, and I'm going to butcher the name, Vasco da Gama. Traditional heavy metal band. This album came out in the early 80s. I think it was 84 or 85, somewhere in that area. There's no date on here, unfortunately. It is sung in Portuguese. Is it Portuguese? Do they speak Portuguese in Portugal? But yeah, it's just sung in their own language, black vinyl, and I can't remember if there was an insert or not. Yeah, there is an insert. Some photos of the band. There's a year on here too. Some live photos of the band, which is cool. Looks a bit like a new wave of British heavy metal band. Kind of a poster going on there, 12 by 24 poster. A year would be really cool. I can't read any of it, of course, because it's in whatever language it is. I assume it's Portuguese. Am I wrong? What language do they speak in Portugal? Portuguese, right? It sounds like it makes sense. I know in Brazil they speak Portuguese, so yeah, I don't see a year on here. But like I said, I believe it's the mid '80s. So I've only heard it a couple times now. Of course, it sounds a little bit foreign to my ears, only because it doesn't have any songs sung in English. But it's just really good stuff. Being that it's a 2019 reissue, I'm sure it's it's pretty easy to find at this moment. So very cool that he hooked me up with a band I had never heard of before, and I've always liked discovering, especially old music that I just never knew existed. Let's pronounce it again. Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama. It's hard to even read it here. It's easier to read it on the spine. Vasco da Gama, Portuguese heavy metal band. Another 80s album. I believe this band's from the UK. Let's see here. I haven't even shown it to you guys yet, and I'm already looking at it. Or maybe it's Germany. I think maybe it's Germany. But anyhow, this is Common Time Heroes by Hardware. This album was actually I just received this album as a gift from Chris, and Chris has a channel on YouTube called Vinyl Transmission. He's not been real busy recently because he's moved. He moved to New Mexico, and he's looking for a job and housing and all that kind of stuff. So he hasn't been really active on. But he swung by my place and we chatted for a while, and he dropped off this record for me. So Common Time Heroes, Hardwire. Again, straightforward heavy metal, a bit of a commercial edge. I wouldn't call it pop metal by any stretch of the imagination. I'd put it more in the camp of like the first couple of Motley Crue albums. Kind of that commercial vibe where it's still metal, it still has that raw edge, but it has those kind of higher pitched catchy vocals and whatnot. So anyhow, Common Time, Hardwire. Let's see if there's a year on this one, because I definitely don't know the year on this one off the top of my head, because I've never heard it before. 1984, and the label it's on I don't even know. Senator Records, published by Senator Records, Germany. So there you go. These are both from the same artists. These are incredible. This is for years. You do these kind of online things where people are like, what albums have never been released on vinyl that you wish were released on vinyl? Well, this is one of those for me. This is Fireball Ministry, The Second Great Awakening. Brilliant album. I just love this. I don't know. Call it doom, call it stoner, call it hard rock, heavy metal, whatever you want to call it. A friend years ago, a decade or more ago, sent me a CD of this. I had never heard of him, but he sent me a CD, and it's one of those albums that just hit me. Heard it the first time and I liked it. Heard it the second time and I liked it. Was listening there, relaxing one day, and just had music in the background, and suddenly I loved it. I don't know what it was about that third time of hearing it, but ever since then, this album has just been a frequent spinner for me, and great band. And then what really made it come alive for me was they were touring with Dio, so I saw them opening up for Dio, and my gosh, they were awesome. Two females in the band. So actually, let me show you this real quick while I'm at it before I get into that. It's kind of got one of those hologram covers on there. I don't know how well that's going to come across on the screen, but it's very well done. Very, very cool. Did not know that was coming with it. I did think it was a little bit of a pricey record, but now I can see why, because it came with this thing. And it also has the regular cover here. But so anyhow, you have Emily Burton over here on guitars, and she's still with the band. You got the Reverend here on vocals and guitar, and then on bass was let me see if I can. There's a better picture on the inside here. Nope, drawings. So anyhow, there's a drawing over here. This is Janice Tanaka. Janice, I was standing right in front of her when she was playing, and man, she just commanded the stage. She had on this denim vest and a bullet belt, and she looked like a female Lemmy up there. She just commanded the stage. And then the two females together singing the background vocals, it just really, really worked for them. And then, of course, this guy, the Reverend here, he kind of has an Ozzy-esque style to his voice. James A. Rhoda II, yeah. So, I don't know, seeing him open for Ozzy that time, man, it's just really, I don't know if you've ever seen a band and it's just, seeing that band makes you really appreciate him. Seeing him that time really made me appreciate him. And then a few years later, maybe not even a few years, maybe the same year or a year later, they came and they played a headline show in the same club to barely anybody there. Oh, man, they were fantastic. Ended up roadieing for him, getting to meet him, getting all their autographs. Nice guys. But anyhow, Fireball Ministry, The Second Great Awakening, finally available on vinyl. I bought it directly from the band. I pre-ordered it. I haven't been actually buying a lot of records. I've been doing a lot of trading. And, a lot of stuff I've shown you is stuff that I traded for or people have given me. But this one I had to pre-order it because it's just one of those ones I've been wanting on vinyl forever. It is on a colored vinyl. It's on an orange vinyl, which is kind of fitting. I call it Flyers Orange. And it also comes with an insert with tons of photographs of the band. One of those cool collages that I like doing myself. Yeah, and it was available, I believe, just through Fireball Ministries, fireballministry.com or whatever it was. I don't know if anybody's carrying it, else is carrying it right now, but very cool to have. It sounds great, it looks great, excellent packaging. Glad to have it. And the last one is, this is the same band, Fireball Ministry, and this is their first, excuse me, independent album. The Second Great Awakening, I believe, was on Nuclear Blast. And then this one here was an independent release out of the band, being out of Hollywood, California. Again, it's a gatefold. Again, you got that collage of photos from that era of the band. And there is no special cover thing for this, but it is on a special colored vinyl. Kind of a splatter, I don't know, red, brown color, tan. Very cool. Original Fireball Ministry logo on there. Again, same sort of music, not quite as well recorded as the second album. Probably will never be my favorite as the Second Great Awakening is, just because that's the album I discovered them on. It was that album that I purchased and that album that I loved first. So I went back and found this one afterwards. And of course I do like it. I'm not saying I don't like it. I like it a lot. But there's just something about Second Great Awakening, and nothing that they will ever do will top it in my book. So there you go, Fireball Ministry. Can't remember what year this came out originally. Of course it's not written on here anywhere that I see. Nope, don't see it. But there's in the corner up there, there's where's this plastic sleeve here? There's Emily Burton in her Sunday Finest, and the Reverend James A. Rhoda II in his Sunday Finest. So there you go. Oest La Rock, Fireball Ministry. Notice the corporate back here with the 666 sticking out on it. So those evil corporations. So anyhow, that's it. That's my vinyl updates for this month, which is, I don't know, middle of August some point. Let me know what you like, let me know what you don't like, and I love talking to you guys about music. Appreciate y'all watching. That's it. God bless. Stay strong.